Good afternoon and welcome to TV Sapienza News at 1. I am Oluchi Ojo-Bamidele. On the news, the federal government has called for a thorough investigation into the mysterious death of a Nigerian TikTok content moderator, Ladi Olumbumi, in Kenya. On the foreign scene, a U.S. Judge William Alsop has ordered 6 federal agencies to rehire thousands of probationary workers fired as part of Donald Trump's push to slash the size and scope of government. And in sports, Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen has emphasized that securing a spot at the 2026 FIFA World Cup is the ultimate goal for the Nigerian national team as they aim to avoid missing out on back-to-back editions of football's biggest tournament. The news in full details. The Post-Primary School Service Commission, PPSC, in Anambra State has authorized principals and teachers in secondary schools to seize phones from students who come to school with it. According to the commission, the phones are a serious distraction to the students who are in school to learn. The chairman, Post-Primary School Service Commission, Professor Nkechi Ikedugu, stated this during a cultural event held at a public school in Awka. Professor Ikedugu highlighted that Igbo culture as a beautiful identity should be sustained through continuous indoctrination of the students to the values and norms of Ndibo. She maintained that Igbo culture does not end in clothing and dancing, but that Igbos are also known for honesty, truthfulness, hard work, respect for elders, and much more. The Nigerian Army has advised residents of Enugu State not to panic upon witnessing heavy movement of troops and equipment or hearing gunshots between March 17 and March 20. The acting Deputy Director of Army Public Relations for the 82 Division, Lieutenant Colonel Jonah Unakalo, disclosed this in a statement issued in Enugu State on Thursday. Lieutenant Unakalo said the activity is part of a week-long range classification exercise by the Nigerian Army personnel. He said the range classification will take place at the Army Training Area in Udi local government, located just outside the Enugu metropolis, adding that the exercise is designed to sharpen the shooting skills of officers and soldiers in the division, as well as assess the serviceability of weapons that have not been deployed in operations. Unakalo further assured the public, especially residents of Obwede, Ukehe, Umuoka, Afa, Ochima, and Unyoho communities in Udi, that there is no cause for alarm. The federal government has called for a thorough investigation into the mysterious death of a Nigerian TikTok content moderator, Ladi Olumbumi, in Kenya. The chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiru Erewa, urged Kenyan authorities to determine the circumstances surrounding Olumbumi's death, which has sparked concerns over the treatment of Nigerians working abroad. Olumbumi, an employee of the social media contracting firm Teleperformance, was found dead in her Nairobi apartment last week, and her decomposed body was discovered 3 days after colleagues noticed her absence from work. In a statement issued by NIDCOM's Media and Public Relations Unit, W. Erewa expressed concern over the situation, emphasizing the need for stronger labor laws to protect Nigerians working overseas. She stated that proper labor mobility laws in Nigeria would safeguard the rights and well-being of Nigerians employed abroad, ensuring proper documentation, monitoring and support system. The NIDCOM chairman also extended condolences to Olumbumi's family, friends and colleagues, while stressing the need for mental health support and oversight mechanism for Nigerians working internationally. She also advised Nigerians working abroad to engage only with reputable employers and remain informed about their rights and available support structures. In Bauchi State, the Bauchi State government has disclosed that measles is becoming endemic in the state. The executive chairman, Bauchi State Primary Health Care Board, Rilwanu Mohammed, made the disclosure during a one-day sensitization program on the importance of the measles rubella MR vaccine. Ruwano, who explained that the sensitization was organized to equip wives of the local government chairman of the preparation for the vaccination exercise in October, stated that measles, rubella, MR are 2 deadly diseases that must be fought with all energy. He added that the exercise will be carried out under the umbrella of the Forum of Nigerian Governors' Spouses and that the vaccines are to be administered to children under the age of 15. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria has appealed to President Bola Tinubu to grant pardon to Mr. Sunday Jackson, whose death sentence was recently upheld by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court on March 7, 2025 affirmed the death sentence to Jackson, a farmer from Adamawa State, for killing a Fulani herdsman, Ado Bawuro, during an altercation on his farmland. A verdict he claims resulted from acting in self-defense. The bishops made the appeal in a communique issued at the end of their first plenary meeting in Abuja and signed by its president, Archbishop Lucius Ugoje, and Secretary Bishop Donatus Ogun, reiterating the Catholic Church opposition to capital punishment. They also criticized the recent closure of schools in some parts of the country, particularly in Kebbi, Katsina, Bauchi, and Kano State, where authorities shut down schools for the Ramadan fast. They are also demanding that the government that order the closure of all schools to withdraw such orders, considering the rights of children to education. The Nigerian Education Loan Fund (NEL) Fund has assured students that beneficiaries of the Student Loan Scheme will not be restricted from traveling abroad after graduation. The Managing Director and Chief Executive of NEL Fund, Akitunde Soya, made this known during a sensitization program at Edo University, Eyamwo, while addressing students concerned about potential travel limitations. Soya encouraged students to take advantage of the loan scheme to ease the financial burden of education on their families, emphasizing its unique benefits compared to other loan types. According to him, the loan repayment structure is interest-free, even if repayments stretch over a decade. While expressing the commitment of the fund to always ensure transparency in all its dealing, Soya said NEL Fund will be fully ready to disburse 135 billion naira in all the applications received so far are fully processed. Also speaking, Edo State Commissioner for Education, Dr. Padi Yamu, pledged the state government's commitment to ensuring students across the state fully utilize the scheme. President Bola Tinubu says that Nigeria would have faced imminent bankruptcy if his administration had not swiftly ended the fuel subsidy and implemented crucial economic reforms. Receiving a delegation of former National Assembly colleagues from the aborted Third Republic at the State House in Abuja, the president explained that his actions were motivated by the need to protect the interests of future generations. The special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Onanoga, who revealed this in a statement, said President Tinubu noted that social and economic challenges confronting the country, emphasizing that decisive steps were necessary to prevent financial collapse. He lauded Nigerians for rallying behind the reforms, crediting their collective support with helping to stabilize the exchange rate and lower food prices, especially during this Ramadan. According to the president, democracy remains the surest path to achieving economic, social, and political development, while commending those who continue to hold fast to democratic principles. The House of Representatives has called for free malaria treatment for Nigerians at primary health care centers across the country. The Chairman House Committee on AIDS, Tuberculosis and Malaria, Amobi Oga, made the call at an interactive meeting with the Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pate, in Abuja. He said that he was disappointed at the malaria elimination program in Nigeria, explaining that it needs to be reawakened, adding that there is also the need to look at alternative funding for the health sector following the withdrawal of international support. Oga further explained that the Nigerian government has risen to the occasion as the country aims to allocate more resources to the fight against communicable diseases such as HIV, tuberculosis, and also malaria. He commended Professor Pate at the Ministry of Health for the leadership, determination, and doggedness in making a case for increased funding for the health sector to the Federal Executive Council for under the prevailing circumstances. He urged the Minister of Health to consider setting up a trust fund for intervention in AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. Glad to still have you here with us on TV Sapientia News Hour. Still on the news, the South African leaders have announced they will pull their troops out of the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, where they have been helping the government fight rebel forces. The troops were sent 2 years ago to support the Congolese army fight the Rwandan-backed M23 rebels, which have seized control of large parts of mineral-rich Eastern DR Congo this year. At least 19 soldiers from South Africa, Malawi, and Tanzania were killed when the M23 captured the region's biggest city, Goma, in January. Thousands of people have been killed during the fighting and hundreds of thousands left without shelter after fleeing their homes. Meanwhile, there have been concerns that the fighting could escalate to a wider regional conflict. In February, Malawi's president said its troops will be withdrawn from DR Congo, although he did not give a reason. South Africa, which leads the mission, was to deploy 2,900 troops, and the rest are shared between Malawi and Tanzania. Still on the foreign scene, a U.S. judge, William Alsop, has ordered 6 federal agencies to rehire thousands of probationary workers fired as part of Donald Trump's push to slash the size and scope of government. The ruling is the latest judicial setback for the administration, coming on the heels of a string of legal defeats that seems not to have slowed the pace of change. Judge Alsop said the justification of poor performance for mass layoffs last month was a sham in order to try to avoid statutory requirements. Ruling on a lawsuit brought by employee unions, Judge Alsop ordered the Departments of the Treasury, Veterans Affairs, Agriculture, Defense, Energy and Interior to reinstate anyone on probation who was improperly fired. Thursday's ruling prompted immediate condemnation from the White House, with Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt vowing the administration would fight back against this absurd and unconstitutional order. To the world of sport, Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen has emphasized that securing a spot at the 2026 FIFA World Cup is the ultimate goal for the Nigerian national team, as they aim to avoid missing out on back-to-back editions of football's biggest tournaments. Osimhen, who made this stance clear in an interview with BBC Sport Africa, said playing at the World Cup is a priority and they must make it happen this time around. The 2023 African Footballer of the Year is eager to help Nigeria turn around their winless start in Group C of the CAF qualifiers, where they have drawn 3 of their first 4 matches. Still on the world of sports, Bruno Fernandes has led Manchester United into the Europa League quarter-finals with a hat-trick to beat Real Sociedad 4-1 at Old Trafford on Thursday and 5-2 on aggregate. The first 3 goals on the night came through the penalty spot, as Mikel Oyarzabal had slotted Sociedad into an early lead. However, Fernandes quickly restored parity and coolly scored again from the spot on 50 minutes. The Portuguese international then ensured United will face Lyon in the last 8 by firing home his 15th goal of the season. Languishing 14th in the Premier League and out of both domestic cup competitions, United's last remaining hope of salvaging a miserable season lies with the Europa League. And that's it on the TV Sapientia News Hour. To wrap it up, a reminder of our headlines. The federal government has called for a thorough investigation into the mysterious death of a Nigerian TikTok content moderator, Ladi Olubunmi, in Kenya. A U.S. judge, William Alsop, has ordered 6 federal agencies to rehire thousands of probationary workers fired as part of Donald Trump's push to slash the size of government. And Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen has emphasized that securing a spot at the 2026 FIFA World Cup is the ultimate goal for the Nigerian national team, as they aim to avoid missing out on back-to-back editions of football's biggest tournament. And that was the news at 1. On behalf of the technical and editorial crew, I am Oluchi Ojo-Bamidele. Thank you for being here and thank you for choosing TV Sapientia. Bye for now.